What's up everybody, it's Robin Gaming here. So one of the things I have told myself I wanted to do more is actually expand my topics a little bit, talk about different things that I've talked about in the past. So this video is going to be completely about the Xbox Scorpio and just Microsoft's future at the moment. And of course, you know, I've never made it a secret, I've never been a massive Xbox fan, I've never owned an actual Xbox console myself, but I'm still very much up for it. I'm considering getting an Xbox Scorpio if Microsoft does do a couple of things well, and that's why in this video what I want to do is I want to give you my opinion on, you know, first of all what I expect from the Scorpio, and at the same time where I think Microsoft needs to be going with this console for it to really start competing again with the PlayStation, because, you know, let's be honest, they're in a lot of trouble at the moment. The Xbox One is not selling super well, it's doing relatively okay, but compared to the PS4, which is just a massive success, it's nowhere near that at the moment. And I think that comes down to a couple of things, and we've seen Microsoft really struggle in the past, right? Like literally just a few weeks ago they cancelled Scalebound again. They're bringing out all their games on PC at the moment and not really having any big exclusives anymore. And so yeah, I wanted to pretty much, you know, give you my thoughts on the Xbox Scorpio at the moment and what I really expect as well. So, you know, let's talk about what exactly this Xbox Scorpio is going to be. So we don't know that at the moment really, because Microsoft still has to like pretty much announce all the details, right? But last year at E3, pretty much all that we can still believe at the moment in terms of their words is that the Xbox Scorpio is pretty much a mid-generation console, just like the PS4 Pro, as in it will run the old Xbox One games still, and it is all going to be compatible, like all the games will be running on both, right? But at the same time it's going to be a much more powerful console, meaning that it will take all of the existing Xbox One games, or at least the exclusives, you know, Microsoft's own games, put those on the Scorpio and make them run in 4K, 60 frames per second, you know, 6 teraflops that they confirmed. There have been some rumors recently that the console will not be as powerful and as pricey as you would expect it to be, meaning it's going to be around the $400 or $500, you know, dollar range, and I personally think that's a good thing. I actually believe that in this case the power is really not the most important thing at all, because in my opinion, you know, this thing just needs to be more powerful than the PS4 Pro at least. It really needs to be that, yeah, what Microsoft has said so far, just a console that can run these games in 4K, or at least like in high resolutions and 60 frames per second, and just be a powerful box, the most powerful console out there. Now they're going to do that already, that's pretty much confirmed, and that's a good thing, but that's all it needs to be, because the higher you go, the pricier it's gonna get, and if you get to that, you know, $600, $700, $800 range, then how many people are really going to be interested to buy this console? I don't think many. So in that way, if they stick to the $400 or $500 range, make it very competitive with the consoles that are out there at the moment, and be more powerful, you know, the most powerful console out there, that's a good thing. You know, that's exactly what they need to do. And I also like the approach where all the games are still compatible. I really believe that the console market at the moment is going to go in that direction where you're gonna be able to buy a new console every 2 or 3 years that will be slightly more powerful, but that's still gonna be completely compatible with the older consoles in terms of gaming. I think that's where Xbox is gonna go. I think that's where even PlayStation is gonna go. You know, we're definitely still gonna see a PS5, but with the PC architecture, with the whole strategies of these companies at the moment, it seems to be going in that direction. And I think for gamers that's a good thing, because you decide for yourself when you want to actually upgrade, and you could upgrade as much as you want, or you could simply wait a few years, you know, and just play your games on the console you own. I think that's a good thing, and that way I'm excited for the Scorpio. What it's really about for me, right, in terms of what Microsoft needs to do, is simply the games, and that's where I'm at the moment very concerned for Microsoft, because what do we know for 2017? Not a lot. They're gonna be coming out with Halo Wars 2, which I don't think that many people are excited about, Sea of Thieves, which is a very small skilled game coming out that doesn't look very amazing or something, and Crackdown 3, which we haven't heard that much about at all. That's pretty much all we know for Microsoft at the moment in 2017, and that's not the only problem. The big problem is that Microsoft constantly is falling back on these, you know, franchises that we have, and then we start talking about start talking again about this cycle where we're seeing Forza, Halo, and Gears. That's all the 3 franchises Microsoft is constantly putting out games for. That's all you're gonna get on the Xbox One. But you know, and I don't want to start constantly comparing it again to Sony, for example, but if we've seen what Sony has done last year at E3 and at PSX, coming out with these exclusive games, these announcements that really excite gamers because they're completely new things, you know. God of War, Death Stranding, The Last of Us 2, Uncharted The Lost Legacy, Spider-Man, Detroit Become Human. You could go on and on and on. Days Gone, of course. Like, so many cool new games that try to do something different again, that focus on storytelling this time around, that aren't what you're used, you know, what you're used to already, that aren't constantly the number 4s and 5s. That's really what Sony is doing so well at the moment, and at the same time these games are exclusive while Xbox is putting out all these games on PC, and it makes me wonder, like, what is Microsoft's plan for the future really going to be? Like, are they focused on games? It doesn't really seem so at the moment. Are they focused on hardware? I guess, but at the same time they're putting out all their games on PC, so there's no point to actually really owning their hardware at the moment. So I don't know what Microsoft wants to do with their current situation, and I really feel like what Microsoft needs to do for the Xbox Scorpio to be a success is to convince people to want that console with actual games. In the end, that's what it comes down to, right? Like, you need to have the exciting games that do something different again, that make a bigger audience want to buy a console, and not constantly rely on Halo, Forza and Gears. It's cool that you have those franchises and keep making those games for sure, because clearly your audience loves it, but at the same time your audience at the moment is relatively small compared to the PlayStation, so you need to just start coming out with these games that people want to actually play. You know, they did that already with, for example, Sunset Overdrive in 2014. That was one of those games that convinced me, or that made me consider at least getting an Xbox One S, but at the same time it's one game and one doesn't nearly convince me to get the platform yet. They need to have simply more than that. So Microsoft needs to focus on you know, just buying a couple of studios. I know that's more easily said than done, of course, but at least come out with games that you can only play on the Xbox One, that are legitimately interesting, that gamers want to play, and that just try to do something different, that go maybe a little more into the storytelling category, just these cool genres that people like, you know, and not just be completely focused on gameplay all the time. So yeah, you could look at something like Sunset Overdrive, at Quantum Break. It's a shame that game didn't really turn out that well, but like, if it did, then that would have been a cool game as well. Those type of games need to happen more, and Microsoft simply needs to start experimenting more with new IPs, and do different things in terms of that gaming. So with that being said, those are pretty much my thoughts on the Xbox Scorpio. I think it needs to be that $400 to $500 box that is the most powerful console out there, that comes out with actual cool games that you want to play. In that way, I'm definitely gonna get an Xbox Scorpio. If they do that, I'm simply very concerned if they are actually going to pull that off. So let me know your thoughts on the Xbox Scorpio. What would you like to see from the console? What do you think Microsoft needs to do to really compete again with the PS4 at the moment, and to have people be excited about that brand? And then with that being said, thanks a lot for watching, and hope to see you again next time.